In this lesson, we'll create our first microservice and call it workflows-service. Our existing virtual facility service that we created near the beginning of this course will use this new microservice to manage workflows, meaning create, monitor, etc. To make things simpler, we'll use the Nest.js CLI to convert our project into a monorepo. We'll also use the CLI to generate the new microservice within this monorepo. Just in case you're not familiar with the term, a monorepo is a single repository that contains multiple projects. In our case, we'll have two projects, the Virtual Facility project, our existing Nest.js application, and the Workflows Service project, our new microservice. Having them both in a single repository will make it easier to share interfaces, models, and other common code between them. So let's get started by opening up our terminal and running the following command: nestg-app workflows-service. This command will generate a new Nest.js application called Workflows Service and place it in the apps directory. It will also update the Nest CLI JSON file and add a new Workflows-service entry to the projects section. If we look at the directory structure, we can see that instead of having a src or source folder, we now have two applications, Virtual-Facility and Workflows-Service, both located in the apps directory. To keep things simple, we'll use HTTP as the communication protocol between the two applications. We'll dive into other protocols and built-in message broker integrations in future lessons. Before we proceed, let's make sure we update the port on which the Workflows Service application will run to avoid conflicts. Let's open up the Workflows Service main.ts file and update the port to 3001. This way, both applications will run on different ports and we'll be able to run them side by side. Alright, so let's get our hands dirty and start by creating a new resource in the Workflows Service application, calling it Workflows Service. We'll use the Nest.js CLI to generate this resource for us. So let's head over to our terminals and run the following command: nestg resource workflows. The CLI will then prompt us to select which application where we want to generate this resource in. We'll select the Workflows Service application. Then the CLI will generate the resource for us and update the Workflows Service application module. Next up, inside of the Virtual Facility application, let's create a new Buildings module that will use this Workflows Service to manage workflows. So let's run the following command: nestg resource buildings. With this resource in place, let's open up the newly generated building service file and add a new method here called createWorkflow. This method will call the Workflows service to create a new workflow. Ideally, we would declare this logic in a separate Workflows service, but for the sake of simplicity, we'll keep everything in a single service for now. Note, for those using older versions of Node.js, lower than version 17, you may need to install the node-fetch package to use the fetch function, or alternatively use nestjs/axios for the same functionality. Now, let's add a call to this new method right after we create a new building. So in this file, let's head to the create method and add the following code inside there. As always, the code can be found below the course video. Excellent. Let's head over to our terminal and now start both applications. Let's enter in npm run start dev -- virtual facility, and in a separate terminal window, npm run start dev -- workflows service. With both applications running, let's use curl to create a new building and test everything out. If we look at the terminal where the Virtual Facility application is running, we can see that there are no errors. This means we successfully called the Workflows Service application from the Virtual Facility application and have our first microservices up and running. Great job. Of course, everything we have here so far is all very basic, but we have a great starting point for us to learn more about microservices and how to use them with Nest.js. In the next many lessons, we'll dive even deeper into the microservices architecture and learn how to use Nest.js to build even the most complex microservice applications.